Butcherman, thanks for being in this interview with us. You are our first viewee, sorry. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you here.
Yeah, like
Uh,
man, like this is like such a cool thing, like because I've done a lot of firsts in Singapore. Like I've been the first person to wrestle in SPW, Grapple Max, and ROR. I was the first person to wrestle in a last man standing match, and now I am the first person to be an interviewee for the LCWC podcast.
that is awesome. You can put it in your career page.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, so how are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I just had my dinner. Um, Contrary to like what the butcherman eats, and butcherman normally eats like meat all the time, but today I put in a little bit of fries and also what else did I eat? I think I ate a coleslaw. I think like butcherman won't like those type of foods, but I do have to keep myself healthy and also not healthy, more of like happy, so that I can keep the butcherman happy as well.
Oh, nice. Let's get into the Hardcore Island 2, which is in on 16th August. And you'll be teaming up with your Horus tag team partner, Dr. Gore, and former SPW Southeast Asia champion, Aiden Rex. And the three of you is a huge match because it's the main event and a six-man tag match against the current SEHM statement Andrew Tang, and then with the Midnight Bastards, the newly minted State of Bastards, right? So, what can fans expect from this match and the show overall?
So like the previous show, SPW Ignition, that's where we kind of like sparked the flame that became this main event match. So this match is going to be Extreme Rules. I'm quite excited to wrestle Statement again and also wrestle Midnight Bastards for the first time. Statement because I mean like if you want to pull behind the curtain, he is my trainer. He is like the first Singapore wrestler of the modern era. So like to step in the ring with him again, is quite cool because like I look up to him in some ways, and also I've always felt this like very cool energy and chemistry with him whenever I wrestle. But of course, like don't tell the Butcherman this because he hates the statement. And also the Midnight Bastards, uh, their current like career progression is kind of similar to the Horus. Like that's what we were like 5 or 6 years ago. So for them to just go straight to the top and gun for our titles, I think that's the same energy that we brought for the past 6 years. So I am looking forward to tangle with them because if they happen to beat us, not only do they make a huge impact, but first of all, like Statement's championship reign will be like intact. You know, like no one's gonna be the number one contender from our team, but also Midnight Bastards can have a shot at our titles.
Ah, that's huge. I mean, for the Midnight Buzzers, they're pretty new to the scene. So, like coming from like tech champions such as yourself and Dr. Gore, and then you guys also being like the senior wrestlers of SPW. So that's a huge thing for Midnight Busters, right?
Senior as oh man, like no, I still don't consider myself a senior. Like I still feel now because like I think in Singapore, if you consider yourself a veteran, I think any wrestler besides maybe like the first batch of SPW, like I don't think you have any right to call yourself like veterans or seniors. I mean, of course, I appreciate that you call us seniors, but like because like we wrestle like what once every 2 months or 3 months. That means like if let's say like for me, I haven't even wrestled like 100 matches yet. So like I still feel like I have a long way to go. I still feel like that hunger to really like prove myself. But of course, yeah, like comparatively speaking, between like the Horus and Amina Bastards, like they may think that they're hungrier than us, but they cannot underestimate our hunger.
All right. I mean, how many matches actually have you wrestled so far?
You
That
know, I
you,
actually kept count of this. I don't know whether
yeah,
if I like exit the yeah. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, but I do not see you anymore.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me just go. I listed the matches. Hold on.
Ah, okay, okay.
I have like a whole list of matches and like all the finishes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, wait, ah.
Is that something you wrote down as the years go, as the matches go, or
Yeah.
did you recently
Okay.
do it?
Am I?
You're back.
Yeah, I recently did it. So like, I mean, of course, like I still have quite a good memory with my matches. Yeah. So yeah, I've wrestled 67 matches in total.
Oh wow, that's a big number.
Well, I mean, like for me, I feel like I should be wrestling like way more. Like, that's why I still have the nervousness until now. Like, I think okay, like maybe like from 2016 to 2019, there was a period of time where I was a bit too confident in myself. Until there was one particular match. Should I say the match? I'll just say the match. It's the match between me versus Destroyer Dharma and Aiden Rex for the Singapore
Okay.
Championship. That
Uh-huh.
was like the second time I ever wrestled for the championship, and the build up to that match, we did this kind of like a promo where like I attacked Destroyer Dharma at gym box, I slashed his gym bag, and I ran away. It got quite a lot of views on Facebook. I think like it got pretty viral to the point where like a lot of like news outlets were trying to contact us. I think we even were able to like reach like a media outlet like in America or something like that.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, entering that match, I thought, okay, like we have the crowd. The crowd is going to cheer. They're gonna boo. They're gonna give us all the energy. And the crowd was like flat. Like I've never felt like that amount of like flat energy before in any of my matches. So ever since then, like I always go into my matches thinking like, okay, this is the first time that a number of people are going to see the Butcherman wrestle. So I really need to make sure that I wrestle as if it's my first match, as if like I'm the same hungry person I was in 2016. Yeah, so like back to the original topic about like the senior stuff. Like yeah, I really don't feel comfortable calling myself a senior or like a veteran because like I'm nowhere near that. Like, I really feel that like I have a lot to work on. Of course, yeah, like I am very committed to the Butcherman character, but in terms of like experience, in terms of like my movement in the ring, in terms of like understanding how to like craft the wrestling match, like I still really need to work on that. And I study like wrestling matches every day to improve on that.
I see. So, what about the other matches in the event?
Yeah,
What can
so
fans
we
expect?
have like Vin versus E-Man. They're gonna be wrestling for the SPW Singapore Championship number one contender contract. Oh my god, that's like a mouthful to say. They are going to be participating in a chess match. I'm quite excited for that because I myself have wrestled in a chess match against Destroyer Dharma before. It's quite a tough match to wrestle in, but I think these two guys are quite hungry to become number one in the company. So I think they're going to really beat each other up. We also have oh my god, like I already like blanked on like the card.
The triple threat, Alexis Lee and
So
yeah,
Alexis Lee,
Miyu Yamashita
Yamashita-san, um,
and
fuck,
Kaya,
I
Kaya
forgot
Toribami, Kaya Toribami.
I'm not too familiar with the bird girl. I'm not gonna say her name because I'll butcher her name. No pun intended. But like I'm quite familiar with Miyu Yamashita, and I'm quite excited to see her wrestle. And Alexis Lee, in fact, like it's her birthday today, so I think she has a lot to prove in terms of like her momentum in her career right now going a bit down because she lost the Queen of Asia Championship. So I think she wants that momentum to show that she can hang with the best international women wrestlers. So yeah, I'm quite excited for that. I'm quite excited to watch Sunny Z and Benji in action. I actually met Benji in Thailand, and I'm actually quite a fan of his work. Sunny Z, I have watched him online, but never met him in person. So quite excited for that. I know like Jack and Cheese, they also want to prove that they can hang in the tag team division because like right now, myself and Dr. Go, we are the tag team championship. We are the tag team champions. So I think like they want a shot at our titles, but in order for them to do that, they really need to gain a lot of momentum because especially ever since they lost to the Midnight Bastards in last show. So yeah, I think that they really want to prove themselves.
Mm.
I
So what
think
do you
everybody wants to prove themselves in the whole show.
True. I mean, it's like how often do they get this kind of no rules kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And then what about what do you think about the match between referee Ryan and Blade?
Mm.
And the loser gets caned match.
So like the first time that referee Ryan stunned Bryson Blade, I think the crowd just went insane, and me included. I mean, I was like, yes, like finally, like this is like Bryson Blade gets his mouth shut. I think this match is probably the most personal match out of the whole card. Um, and I think the fans probably will expect Ryan to fight with his heart, but I think they're also going to be surprised with what crazy things he can do. I mean, like I think like the wheelbarrow stunner that he does, that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's been working really hard to train as a wrestler. And I think like Bryson Blade, he's gonna have his hands full.
Nice. Has referee Ryan actually wrestled in SPW yet?
Yeah,
I
he has. He's
think-
competed in Battle Royals though. He has this will be his first singles match.
Okay, okay. You and Aiden, I mean, like the Horus and Aiden are considered to be like the top heroes of SPW, right? And Statement is like the top villain. So, but then Midnight Busters are kind of, I mean, they're still new to the scene. So, how do you feel as one half of the SPW Tag Team Champions about taking on the youngest tag team in the promotion, or one of the youngest?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like where the Midnight Bastards are now, that's what the Horrors were like probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So I understand that hunger, and I also understand that they wanna really make a name for themselves, make an impact, and what greater impact than to not only team with the Statement, who is like currently like our top guy, he's the SPW Southeast Asia champion, but also to pin one of us. And I mean, of course, like um if they pin the Horus, not only will Statement's championship reign not be in danger, but also they probably have like a good spot as the number one contenders because yeah, they pin us. But I'm quite sure that the Butcherman, Dr. Gore, and Aiden Rex won't let that happen.
Well, I mean, as someone who is a fan of the Horus and Aiden, I hope so.
Yeah, oh
And
yeah,
teach
for sure.
those
Yeah,
guys
I
a
think,
lesson.
please like give us the support. And I think we really rely on the fan support and the energy, so that like whenever they cheer for us, like it makes us like have this like very strong urge to just like rip people apart.
For sure. I mean, that is something that, as a pro wrestler, like you want the energy from the crowd, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think as a fan watching, you also want to give it to your favorites who are wrestling in the match itself.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about I guess, the Singapore crowd? Like, was there any difference over the years?
Mm, I think for me personally, so when I first started like back in 2016, nobody really like gave a shit about me. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess they would react to moves, I guess, but like, after the show, I would see like all my other like wrestling colleagues, get pictures taken with them, but like no one approached me. Like, I think for like the first 3 shows, nobody approached me, until it was 2017. The event was called Painfully Famous. That's when I just went like all ham with the Butcherman character. That's when the fans like started to notice me, and then like I think on that very show, like everybody was like, okay, like let's take a picture of you. Like that was really cool. So yeah, like I think the moment that I started to really dive into the Butcherman character, that's when the crowd started to change. But that's just for me personally. But in terms of like over the years for SPW, I think we've gotten a lot of more like casual fans, or like fans who have like never watched like Singapore wrestling, or maybe like never watched wrestling in general. So like of course you do have, you can feel the energy. You can feel the energy difference between like those who totally understand wrestling. They know when to pop, they know when to cheer. You also have the energy where they're like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of noise and that looks painful, so ouch. Like, so you can kind of feel that. And I think like right now there is maybe more of that casual fan energy than like those who actually understand wrestling. But I think like it still gels well together, and like it's still very easy to work off of.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you actually can kind of like identify or recognize that these are new audiences.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because like I mean, as a wrestling fan, if let's say I'm watching, like I'll know how I'll react. Like and I don't know. I don't know whether you feel the same way, but like I think after watching wrestling for like so many years, you do feel a bit like jaded with a lot of things. Because oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's this move. Okay, yep, okay, satellite DT. Okay, up, I don't know, a burning hammer. Okay, so like you've seen it all, but like when like wrestling is able to catch you like emotionally, yeah, the energy is different. Yeah, so it's something that I can't really describe, but it's something that I can like legitimately feel like it's a very like weird thing. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay. It's also kind of like the feeling when you're performing and then you get that like how is the reaction and you just like oh maybe this is there's a certain way that they feel, that's why they
Yeah.
react this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into the more specifics about your character,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know your opinion about the tag team division in SPW.
Yeah.
I know we talked a little bit about Midnight Busters being like, you know, like a 5 to 6 years version of you and
Mm.
Dr. Gore, but I mean like as a whole with like, you know, Jack and Cheese and all that.
So currently in the tag team division, we have Jack and Cheese. Yeah, the Midnight Bastards. I think like every other tag team that was in the division like broke up already. Like tag teams don't really like last long in SPW. But the thing is, the Horrors have been a tag team for like 5 to 6 years. So I'm challenging the Midnight Bastards now. Like, will you guys last as long as us? Can you last longer than us? Do you still have, or will you still have the same chemistry? You know, as you go through arguments, as you go through like that big ego boost, and then like your two egos that clash together, will you be able to last that long? Same goes for Jack and Cheese. I mean, I'm quite close to like Jack and also Mr. Cheeseburger. And I know that they are very passionate about making it very far in SPW and also making it far as a tag team. And I think that they do have like a good chemistry in terms of like the synergy of moves and also their kind of like that telepathic like tag team energy. But yeah, like what if they go through like too many losses, or maybe they clash heads too much and they can't take it anymore, you know? So time will tell. Time will tell.
All right. So you start like was did the horror start out 5 to 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Like you and Dr. Gore were the original, like has been from the start, right? The
So we
horrors.
tag team in 2016. Yeah, it was 2016.
Okay.
The first match we ever had like as a tag team was actually a handicap match against Destroyer Dama.
Oh
Yeah, and like
wow.
we got our asses whooped. I mean like
I do
Destroyer
not
Dama.
remember that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people came for that show.
Do you remember what's the name of the show?
It was Wrestle the Odds too.
Oh, okay, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So like Destroyer Dama at the time was like part of Onslaught. So
Hmm.
a lot of like backing from Statement and Traxxas, who we now know as Dante Chen. So like the thing is, we lost that match I think in about like 3 or 5 minutes, and right after the match, like Dr. God actually like attacked me. Like he was like beating me down and stuff. But I think because I don't know, maybe it's just the again, I'm going to use this word quite a lot, is the energy and the synergy that we have, even through like arguments or disagreements. Like we still manage to have that bond from the violence. Yeah. Just to give you a bit of backstory of like why Dr. Go and I became a tag team, is because like I wanted to come up with the Butcherman character. So in that process, I wanted to really like commit to it, just make sure that I wrestle as the Butcherman and not as Daniel. So I went to Dr. Go and I said like, yo, like how did you get into character? So it's like, okay, like let me sit down with you and let me show you the secret. So he brought me into his office and then like he strapped me to a chair and then he looked into my eyes and then he said, first rule is that there is no character. Then he injected a serum inside of me, which really altered my life. So like, I mean like right now, this serum, like how it works is that it's given me the ability to kind of like switch in between like Daniel and the Butcherman. But yeah, like I would say that because of that, it has granted me the success that I have in the wrestling business so far.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's an interesting origin story.
Yeah, so
So
but going back to the question, sorry, I'm veering a bit off.
no
Yeah,
worries.
no, that means if 2016, that would be about what, 8 years?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shit, like it feels like 5 to 6 years, but actually 8 years. Yeah, so like we had that tag team ever since then, but then like we recruited Zero, who turned out to be Dave Vindictus, who is now known as Big Dave. At one point, he was called Smart Dave as well. Yeah, so we had that, but then of course, like we parted ways, and Dr. Go and I have been a tag team ever since.
Ah, okay. But you didn't start out as a tag team. Like you didn't start out with the Horus. You actually were like solo before that, right?
Yeah,
For a
yeah.
bit.
So like my first ever match was like in a multi-man match. I didn't really have a direction, and also like I just went into that match thinking like, okay, like who is like the butcher? Like it wasn't even the butcher man yet. Like not even like the butcher boy. It's just the butcher. So like I don't know. Okay, let's just like cut off one sleeve, then like leave like one long sleeve, then like wear ripped jeans, put a bit of blood, and then that's it. Like there was no depth to the character. It was just more of like, okay, this is the aesthetic. Okay, let's go with that. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, I started off that. Then after that, like I met Dr. Gore. We decided to become a tag team. Then ever since, yeah, we've been a tag team.
So was like tag team wrestling something that you always wanted to do or thought of doing from the start?
Absolutely not. No. Like I think a lot of us, when we go into wrestling, we always, and I mean like this is a cliche. Like a lot of people say like if you are not aiming to be the top champion, then you shouldn't be in wrestling. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us want to be that top guy. Of course, like the way we get to that position, that's our own individual journeys. But yeah, like I never saw myself as a tag team wrestler. I always thought that I would want to aim for the top.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just that when the tag team opportunity was presented, of course I wasn't gonna say no, because like like if let's say like maybe it was like another like wrestler, I really don't know how like things would like turn out. But I think that Dr. Gore and the Butcherman is like a perfect fit. So I was like a fan of Dr. Gore out of all the Singapore wrestlers that I watched back then. Yeah, I started watching SPW ever since like 2012, but like that was on like YouTube. And the person that really caught my eye was Dr. Gore. So like having the opportunity to tag with him, not only for that one match, but for like the majority of my career is really cool. But yeah, like as much as I do love the Horus tag team, like I also still have aspirations to become the top guy. I've already won the Southeast Asia Tag Team Championship. I've won the SPW Singapore Championship. I'm just left with the Southeast Asia Championship and the SPW 24/7 Championship.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, those. Like if you wanna, when you were the Singapore champion, Dr. Gore was out on injury, right? So that's why you went solo and you got the champion eventually. Then, if you want to pursue the 24/7 title and the Southeast Asia title, then are you thinking about, maybe also doing a little bit of solo on the side or something? Like, any plans for that?
Yeah, so like I think if the opportunity like presents itself, I will like 100% take it. Um, I do not want to break the horrors up because I feel like that's a cliche. Like, oh, like there's a tag team, they're friends, then suddenly like there's some sort of crossroads, and then they have to break up. So I don't want that, and I feel that like the horrors is quite a precious thing in Singapore, and in fact, we are starting to become, or maybe we've already become a precious thing in Southeast Asia. So like, I do not want to break that bond, but I think we have the understanding that if either of us were presented that top spot, like we will have that friendly competition to make sure that one of us gets there.
That's nice. I mean, like, just because you wanna do a little solo side quest doesn't mean that you have to break up, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean,
Yeah.
like I think I've seen online like people comment on my stuff like, oh, like one day if you win the Southeast Asia Championship, then you and Dr. Go will feud. And I'm like, nah, like I don't want to do that. Like I mean, of course, yeah, like it would be cool to have that drama, but like I just don't see a need for it. Like I rather have that match as like, you know what, like you want this and I want to keep it, or like if let's say he wins it, that he wants to keep it, I want it. So let's just fight to see who's better. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, so you just now you mentioned about how when you had the multi-man debut match, you didn't really think that in depth yet about the character of the Butcherman, right?
Yeah.
So you just call yourself the Butcher at that point of
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you come up with the persona in the first place then?
So like if you hear like a lot of people's like, or a lot of wrestlers like stories about like how they came up with characters, they will say like, oh, I watched this movie and then this inspired me to be this. But to be honest, it was just what really motivated me to become the Butcherman was when Statement came up to me and said, hey, you're gonna debut at what was the name of the show? It was it Tropic Island? Oh, not Hardcore Island. It was Tropical Storm.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah, it was
Tropical
Tropical
Storm.
Storm. Yeah, so like when the Statement told me that, I could not sleep. I was like, oh my god, yes, okay. Like I'm so excited. And then like he told me, okay, I need you to come up with a character. So it's like, okay, okay, oh man, like how do I come up with a character? Okay, if I'm going to wrestle someone, what is the energy I bring? Okay, I don't think I'm going to technical wrestle. I don't see myself as a high flyer. Okay, maybe I see myself more as like a brawler type of guy. Yeah, I also don't think I would be doing a lot of power moves. I mean, of course, that changed after a while. But yeah, like at that time, I was just thinking, okay, like
Got
brawler.
it.
Brawler. Then I'm thinking, okay, like what energy will I bring? Like, do I want to study off slow or do I want to just dive into combat? Yeah, actually, yeah, dive into combat. Okay, so I got these two. Then, okay, but I need to put a word for this. Okay, it's not finesse, it's slaughter. Okay, slaughter. Slaughter King? No, Slaughter King. Meat Butcher. Oh, yeah, actually Butcher sounds nice. Okay, let's go with Butcher. That was literally like the thought process.
Oh,
Yeah. But from there, that's when I was like, okay, Butcher. So like how does the Butcher look like? Then two very like unlikely inspirations. So one was Tae Young from Big Bang.
oh,
There was one concert like he was wearing like ripped jeans,
okay.
and I don't know, at that time like when I watched the concert, I was like, like ripped jeans for the Butcher character, I think it can fit. Okay. Now the other inspiration, I'm a bit like embarrassed to say this, not to say that this guy is a bad wrestler or anything, but I got inspiration from Zack Ryder. I don't know whether you remember in ECW in 2008, 2009. He wore those tights where it's like one short sleeve then
Oh,
one.
yes. Yeah.
So I got the idea from there. So like I
Oh,
thought, okay, yeah,
wow.
like, but instead of like the tights, I'll just do it on the shirt. So like cut one sleeve here, then just leave one long sleeve over here. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not make that connection at all.
Yeah, I mean like in hindsight, I think that's like uh yeah, I think I only just like realized like where I got the inspiration from also, because like who in their right mind would think of such nonsense?
It's like a subconscious thing, is it?
Yeah. But yeah, then after a while, like I know this answer is quite long, but after a while I had to kind of really evaluate as to why the crowd wasn't really reacting. I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, like I did like certain moves like a jumping, screaming headbutt. I think my finisher at the time was like a jumping flatliner, and I thought, oh, like if I do like certain moves, you'll get a reaction. And yeah, it did get a reaction, but only for that moment. There was no like lasting impact. So I remember like the first time that I was like, okay, what if I add certain elements to this character to make it like a bit more larger than life? So I knew the goal was larger than life, right? So I was watching this movie called Crank. I don't know whether you've heard of the movie.
No.
Yeah, so it stars Jason Statham. So the premise of the movie is that he gets injected with this kind of poison, where if his heart rate like is at a certain level, it's like very low, like he'll die. So the whole movie, or his main aim, is to just keep his heart pumping. So he has to do like all this like adrenaline filled like things to get his heart pumping. So the first thing that he does in the movie is that he sniffs cocaine so that his heart spikes. Then I thought, okay, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. What if like I take my cleaver, then I sniff like cocaine from the cleaver, but actually it's not cocaine, it's just like maybe the steel from the cleaver. Then I get some sort of rush. Then I thought, oh, okay. Then because like in like my promos, like there were certain like parts where I'll be like but it's like not very exaggerated. It's just like I'm talking but then like some of my friends like caught that, and they were like, oh, like I like that thing when you so I thought, okay, like what if I keep that, and then like I just turn the volume up, and then I'm like and then I just go really crazy. So when I started doing all these things and implementing all these things and just really like trying to be the loudest person in the match or in the room, that's when people started to notice me. Yeah.
That is recent, right? Your most recent changes, like doing the noises during the ring at the ring.
Yeah, so like for the majority of my career, like Butcherman like was able to talk normally. And the reason why is because he takes like English speaking medication. In fact, like when he takes the English speaking medication, he can speak English better than I do. like sometimes like I can't really speak like English properly, like can't even like string sentences together like right now. But yeah, so like he was able to talk, but he still had the convulsions and stuff. It's just that it was 2022. We just wrestled CDK. For those who don't know, it's Chris Brooks and Masa Takanashi. So we had this match. It was in the SPW training center. It was for Gato Move. It was Dr. Gore, myself, and the Statement versus CDK and Shivam. So we had the match, and at the end of the whole shoot, Masa's instruction was, okay, each of you like say something, but Butcher, like I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to go blah. So like in my mind I was like, okay, but you know, like I do like cutting promos, so like This is actually quite a missed opportunity. If like this is gonna be broadcasted to a lot of people. I tried it and then I thought, oh yeah, actually that it fit. Like it didn't feel like too hokey or anything. Then I thought, okay, like what if I just talk like that like all the way? Yeah, so like I think like even though I did like to cut promos at the Butcherman, like I had to cut promo as the Butcherman. I felt there was a bit of a disconnect. Like this monster is talking English. Like it didn't really seem to fit well. You know Blackpink, right? Of course, yeah. So like like Jisoo.
Yeah.
So she is the like only like truly Korean one out of the four, right?
Yeah.
So when she speaks English, like there's a bit of a disconnect. So like, not say that her English is that bad, but it doesn't sound right. So it's the same thing as the Butcherman. Like him speaking English, even though he can, didn't seem to fit with what I wanted the Butcherman to be, which is this monster. So like I thought like if I created my own language, like maybe that would like translate well. And I think there's a kind of cool dynamic because like whenever I go into the Butcherman language, there's this cool thing where the fans just like agree and they're like, yeah, you tell them. Yeah, I agree, Butcherman. So like it's like I appreciate that because like they're in on the joke. Yeah. So the thing is though, sometimes like I have to kind of like explain what the Butcherman is feeling and it can't be translated with the language. So that's where I implemented the medicated glasses lah. So like right now I'm wearing the medicated glasses made by Dr. Go. So it allows me to speak English properly. Just that when I take them off, then I go a bit too crazy.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like when you were like telling me about the ideas behind like each part of the development of the character, like I would not have guessed it. Because I remember when you first started out, your promos actually stood out to me personally because honestly, like you are one of the top guys when it comes to promos as well, and it reminded me so much of John Moxley back in the day. So I was assuming that that was probably your inspiration, yeah. But knowing that you actually talked about like the Jason Statham and all that, I'm like, wow, I would not have guessed that.
Right.
Yeah, like
I mean, like it's cool that you brought up John Moxley because, like, I think I wouldn't say I adopted everything from John Moxley. Like, maybe it's a lot of like subconscious stuff, but like, I would say I picked a lot from John Moxley. Okay, this like concoction of wrestlers, like promo styles, like will sound a bit weird. So John Moxley, I would definitely have to say there's some Bray Wyatt in there. Jake the Snake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior. What else? I don't know. I think maybe there's a bit of Paul Bearer and Undertaker there. Yeah, so like I mean, like Jake the Snake is like very like soft spoken, but then very menacing. John Moxley is a bit more psycho. Then Bray Wyatt and Undertaker is like very supernatural. So I just like added all of these things. I'm sure there's like a lot more like wrestlers that are in there as well because like I would really like study a lot of wrestlers and then like maybe pick up on some of their mannerisms. Oh yeah, of course, like Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Mankind, like for sure. But I didn't want to like make people feel like, oh, like he's a rip off of like Bray Wyatt or John Moxley or whatever. I wanted like people to feel like, oh yeah, like I can kind of see a bit of Mick Foley. Oh, okay, I can see a bit of Undertaker or Paul Bearer. Maybe like they can like pick it out like immediately, or maybe they kind of like think of it subconsciously.
Yeah, I mean, like even though it reminded me so much of John Moxley, like it was still like your Butcherman persona was so unique enough for me to recognize, like you're not copying what I think that you are copying. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
So but speaking, because you mentioned like Bray Wyatt and all that, like like sometimes people have this perception of this kind of certain gimmicks where it could be limited or too niche, like especially when it comes to like even if normal wrestling fans also like they maybe like, oh it's very horror, like It's not something that's mass appeal. So, but yet somehow also like you are one of the most popular wrestlers in Singapore. Like kids even wear horror shirts, right? Yeah, like were you surprised about that? Like, you know, knowing that you came out with this like gory gimmick and then kids are like wearing supporting you.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's pretty cool, but a little bit concerning because like I'm holding I'm legitimately holding like a real cleaver. And then like kids come up to me and say like is it okay if I take a picture with you? So I mean, of course, like I appreciate it, but like, I hope they don't grow up to be like actual butcher men or butcher girls or butcher women, you know. But yeah, like I think like the thing with like supernatural or like this type of monster gimmicks being limited, I feel the thing with the Butcherman, even though it might not seem like me, I don't know, like a lot of people say that, oh, there's a big difference between me, Daniel, and the Butcherman, but really I feel the Butcherman was created maybe in my teenage years without me knowing. It's like, because like as a teenager I was quite introverted, so like didn't really have like too many friends, was kind of outcasted because I used to school in like international school, so like a lot of like the so-called like angmos or the internationals like didn't want to hang out with the Asians. So like Butcherman really is like the suppressed version of me that wanted to be outgoing, that wanted to, you know, just like live life by my own rules. So it's come to the point where like once I take out the glasses, it's like this suppressed part of me just blows up and then just like wants to make the world play by his rules. So yeah, like I mean like that's why I think it might be successful, because really it's me. It's not like I came up with this like totally like separate character. It's just really me. And like I think okay, this is probably the first time I'm ever going to admit it in an interview. Like I wanna say that I put a lot of like thought into like the Butcherman. To be honest, like once I go into the wrestling ring, like I just really just feel like whatever like opportunity presents itself, like I'll just take it to just put the Butcherman's twist on it. Like if the crowd chants a certain thing, like I won't think, like what would the Butcherman think at this point? I just do it. Like I don't even think. Like I'll just let it flow, because I feel that's what the Butcherman's all about. I don't think there should be order or like any organization in the Butcherman's like, you know, lifestyle. It should just blow up and explode. Yeah.
Understand? Yeah. Understand. I mean, it feels very natural, like an extension of yourself as the Butcherman, right? Did you have any acting background or anything? Because I mean, you do it very well in your promo. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you train and practice this aspect of wrestling?
So I have like zero acting background. When I wanted to become a wrestler, like there was no wrestling school available because I schooled overseas, and at that time in 2012 when SPW was formed, I was still overseas, so like I couldn't like join SPW straight away. If I was living in Singapore, I would think that I would just grab the opportunity straight away. But since I didn't have any wrestling school in Qatar at the place I was living in, I thought like, okay, like what can I do in the meantime as I'm waiting for the opportunity to train to be a wrestler. So I thought, okay, let's practice promos. So I came up with this character. These are the names of the characters. So the first name that I came up with was Iceberg. What we call Iceberg? Because like I thought Goldberg was such a cool name, so I said, okay, like let's have a berg in it. Okay, I'll be the Iceberg. Then I kind of like name myself also like Ironheart Iceberg. Ironheart because there's this transformer called Ironhide,
Yeah.
But like I thought it was Ironheart, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just steal the name Ironheart. Ironheart Iceberg. But then I think I told my uncle, and then my uncle was like, what kind of like stupid name is this? So I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna change it. So like I changed it to like Crash Bam Danny. No relation to like Crash Bandicoot whatsoever, even though like a lot of people are like, oh, like were you inspired by like Crash Bandicoot? Yeah, so like there was Crash Bam Danny. Then the last character I came up with before the Butcherman was Bellum Roy. So in fact, like in my debut, in fact, if you actually see my Titantron, you'll see the Butcher Bellum Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bellum Roy came from like my days as a fan and just trying to come up with this like promo character. I cannot define what that character is. Like all I did was just get like a mask and then just not a mask. It was actually a scarf. I made it into a mask. Then I wore like sunglasses. I wore a beanie. Then I just like cut promos. I don't know. I guess the character was just an angry teenager that wears a scarf over his head. I don't know. I don't know what the character. But I did want to try and define it. So like yes, like I was like cutting promos, just maybe like picking a wrestler, then okay, cut a promo on this guy. So like the moment that I realized, okay, like I'm actually quite committed to this, and this is a reminder for me to chase my dreams. Okay, you can find this video on YouTube if you want to. There's this video, it's called Anti-Phobia Bellum Roy. So basically the character I wanted to come up with, or this version of Bellum Roy, was this guy that was anti-phobia. So he had zero fear. He is not afraid of claustrophobia. It's so stupid. He's not afraid of claustrophobia. He's not afraid of heights. And he's not afraid of pain. And then what I did was I lit up a cigarette. And then like I put the cigarette and just like placed the butt over here.
Wow.
So I don't know. It's very hard to see right now. But there's a scar over here. And like this scar actually like reminds me of like how committed I should be to wrestling and the character in general. Because like if this is how far I'm gonna go to go into that character, like I really feel like there is no excuse for the Butcherman to push his limits.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about you being a teenager and like just sticking the cigarette on your arm.
That one was in NS, yeah.
Oh my god.
I asked my friend, like, can you help me film? But the problem is, like, when I took the cigarette, then I put it there. Like, you can't even see the cigarette burning. You just see the cigarette there, boom, and the fact, yeah, I just, like, threw it on the ground. And then I felt like you can't really see the burn also. Like, but the burn was quite bad. It was like a 3rd-degree burn. Like,
oh my god.
Charred, leathery, like, freak, man.
What did your friend think when he was filming it for you?
You're like, you just say, like, yeah, you're a sick man.
Is he also a wrestling fan? Like, did he understand?
Yeah, I mean, like, he was like a casual wrestling fan, but like, yeah, he did come for like my first night, my debut match. He came for quite a few other matches, yeah, but he hasn't come ever since.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now I just want to talk more about the matches that you have wrestled in. So what is your favorite match that you've been in?
So like hands down, I feel it's the match between myself, Big T at the time, and Black Arrow. So it was for the SPW Singapore Championship. It was an elimination match, and in real life, I'm very close to these guys. And cause like Black Arrow, at that time we weren't really like close friends. But like the first time we wrestled, when I first won the Singapore Championship, we had this like really good chemistry, and I think that was amplified in this match. So like I eliminated Big T, I hit him with the wasteland, and when the fans saw the two of us just like staring down, ready to fight, like they were just getting louder and louder and louder and louder. So like I felt that like if we just messed up anything, the fans wouldn't have cared. It was that strong of like an energy, and like it was almost as if we allowed the fans to kind of dictate the pace of the match. Like we didn't want to like, okay, let's go to this next part and then this next part and this next part. It's just like, okay, the fans are here, so let's get them ready to be here. Okay, then we'll go. And I don't know whether you understand that, but like it flowed really well. So like it was a very emotional match for me as well, because like it was like my last match as the Singapore champion, and then I dropped it to Black Arrow, and I gave this speech at the end. I just told everybody that like I looked up to Black Arrow, like back in 2013 when he made his debut. Was it 2013 or 2014? Yeah, 2013 if not mistaken. When he made his debut, I was like, shit, like this guy like has no fear. He's like doing moonsaults to the outside, doing swanton bombs to the outside. I think he even did like whisper in the wind to the outside. Like this guy like really has no bounds to like the risk that he's willing to take. So like when I found out that he had cancer, I was like, what? Like not only did you like fight through cancer, but you also still want to wrestle at a very high level. So I was like, yeah, like, I have to give this guy his flowers. Yeah. So I mean, like that match meant a lot to me, because it also showed that local wrestlers can tear the house down. Like we don't have to have like, I mean, of course, like I really appreciate any like international wrestler that comes to SPW, but I really feel like the boys we have here or the girls that we have here, like we can really like entertain you guys and give you guys the best show possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a great match. Yeah, like you said, the energy, like it is different, especially when it's for the Singapore Championship and you have two Singaporeans, like, you know, like some of the top guys in the promotion, like fighting it out. And then knowing like you guys, you know, backstage, like you guys are close as well, like it's a lot of emotions. So yeah, it's definitely a memorable match. So on the flip side, what is the most painful spot you've ever been in a match?
I would say there's two. So one, this was in my match against CK Vin. It was a last man standing match. Okay, this one is like really pulling back the curtains. So me and Vin, Vin and I, we went to IKEA. We went to like DIY shop to buy the weapons that we're going to wrestle with. So like I was thinking, okay, like it would be really cool if we have a chain. Then like we get a chain, just whip each other. So of course, let's find a fake chain, but we couldn't. And like of course, like us being us, like we didn't think like of, you know, googling like okay where to get fake chains. So we went to the DIY shop and we bought like I think like 4 links of like metal chain, and we just like cable tied them together. Okay, so when he hit me with the chain, so like I don't know, okay, like if let's say you were hitting me with a chain, I did this, like what would you do? Would you stop or would you continue?
I would stop and ask if you're okay first.
Not Vin. I was doing this, then he kept like whipping me and whipping me and whipping me. I was like, dude.
Oh no.
I get it, okay? Like so like yeah, I mean like there is a picture of like my back and all the chain links, and of course like, I gave him the receipt. It was a very fun match though. Like I really enjoyed that match. I would say that would be maybe my second favorite match, because again like two local guys like duking it out, and I feel like yeah, this is really going behind the curtains, but like I really believe in CK Vin. Like I feel like he will be a top star soon, and I really wanted that opportunity to just showcase what he can do, and for people to look forward to what he's going to do in the future. Yeah, okay, now the second most painful, and I think a lot of people attest to this, is when Statement gives the the machine gun chops to the corner. Cause like, okay, like I don't know whether a lot of wrestling fans understand what a chop feels like. So like, okay, first of all is the palm like hitting the skin, right? But just imagine that to the chest. Now, contrary to like what a lot of people believe, because I'm a first aid trainer, right? The heart is not here. The heart is not on the left side. It's at the center of the chest. Okay? So when we are chopping each other, we're literally like direct impact to the freaking heart.
Oh.
But of course, we're used to it, right? And also, we have the sternum to kind of protect ourselves. The thing is, though, imagine you're huffing and puffing. You're just like, you're going through the match, you're running, you're taking slams, you're taking bumps, you're huffing and puffing. And then suddenly, bam! Okay, so like, in wrestling, we are trained to exhale on impact. So imagine you're trying to catch your breath, then someone, bam! You've just won, that's already painful. But imagine if it's just freaking statement, yeah, you're doing his like machine gun chops, and then like you don't know when to breathe, you're like,
Oh
just
my.
like convulsing at the corner. So yeah, like I think everybody who's wrestled him are like, oh my god, like okay, like when will this end? Like, I remember like, okay, so like the first time I wrestled him, that was the first time I took it. I was like, oh my god, this is like, what the hell is happening? So like the second time I wrestled him, when he was gonna do the machine gun chops, I was like, oh fuck you, bitch. Like I really like shouted quite loud actually, because I was like, okay, come on, give it to me.
And during the match itself?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean like every time when you guys do the chops, I'm like, I don't know how you can even still breathe after that. Like it's
Yeah.
always very hard.
Right. Because like as a fan last time, like I would say like, okay, yeah, chops are nice because it's loud.
Yeah.
But I always felt like, okay, I mean, it's not going to like knock the person out. So like what damage will it give? But when you're actually wrestling, that's when you really understand. Because like it really messes with your chi, or messes with your energy. Because like you're trying to
It's the breathing, right? Because it impacts the breathing.
it's the breathing, is also like your mental state. You're thinking of like winning, you're thinking of like, okay, I need to take this person down, but oh my god, my chest is hurting, I cannot breathe. Then like sometimes like if the chops are like really like laid in, then you'll have like the cuts at the chest.
Yeah, the welts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean like I only watch wrestling. I don't actually practice it, but I really salute you guys taking the punishment every time you go in the ring. So yeah, big props to you guys. Okay, so I mean that's one, and then also like you've faced many international wrestling stars, right? Like the recent one you had with Kaz Hayashi and Shima. Kaz was on his retirement tour. Then you've done like all the other past matches as well with international stars like Kenny Omega. So what is the experience like? You know, like you being a Singaporean wrestler, like Singapore wrestling is, you know, still pretty small, but then you get all these big opportunities.
Yeah, so I really have to like thank Statement for that, because he's the guy that like sorts all of this out, right? So he's really like actually inadvertently allowing me to live my childhood dream, because like I know this sounds a bit too coincidental, but like I literally watched all of the people you've mentioned when I was 13 years old, like legit, like because yeah, like I did grow up with like WWE, but then like when I was 13, that's when I started to learn about indie wrestling. No, there's indie wrestling. Oh, there's also Japanese wrestling. There's Mexican wrestling or lucha libre. So like I watched like Shima, I watched like Kaz Hayashi, Dragon Kid, Yamato, even Kenny Omega when he was doing the otaku gimmick. Like I never thought that like I would like wrestle like any of these guys. Like in fact, like because if you go to like, if you play like, you know, like SmackDown versus Raw, WWE, I don't know, like 2K, you know, 2K whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like if you see the Dragon Rana, that move, it's from Dragon Kid. He invented that move. So like being a kid, like watching him on online, then like playing the games, like trying to spam the Dragon Rana, then to actually wrestle him, like what? Like that was like damn cool. Like also like this is a lesser known fact, but like I am the first Singaporean wrestler to take the V trigger from Kenny Omega. I also was the first person to be lifted for the One Ring Angel, but like I was saved by the statement because like he kicked him in the gut. So like yeah, like these are like just really cool experiences. I mean, of course, like I wouldn't consider them or like those matches as like my best matches ever, but they were really great experiences. Yeah, it's just the reason why I can't call them like my best matches is because like there's a lot of pressure and like you feel that like you really need to live up to their standard. I would feel that the match would be much better if, I mean, of course, I don't think I'll ever reach their level, but if I ever reach that level where I can just be like, you know what, I'm just here to have fun, I'm just here to have a good match and to make the crowd happy. Like, I think that would be much better. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I get an opportunity to wrestle them again, but like, I am the last Singaporean wrestler and only Singaporean wrestler to take the final cut from Kaz Hayashi. That is insane. Like, I remember I kept watching this match when I was like about 14 years old. It was like Kaz Hayashi versus Shuji Kondo. Very underrated Japanese wrestler. So yeah, like, I know all of his moves. So like I was like, oh no, give BK. The BK is this move he does is a bouncy kick where he does a handspring into the kick.
Yeah.
Give, please, like Kenny Omega wants to give me a V-trigger, give. Oh, Shima wants to give me the Meteora and the Shrine. Please, like this is just like my childhood dream coming true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's insane to think about, like you being a pro wrestler and then you get to face your favorite pro wrestlers
Yeah.
that you've been watching since you were a kid.
Yeah.
And that's surreal.
Yeah. For sure.
So, which international wrestler that you faced that leaves you with the biggest impression? I guess
Oof.
Kaz, is it?
Oh man, that's very hard. That's very difficult. I would say like individually, all of them gave me like a really like great impression. But I would say, off the top of my head, like Kenny Omega like really showed the whole principle of less is more. Okay, so I remember he was just doing this thing. Like it's not even like his main move. Just imagine like he gets the guy into like some like wrist lock. Then he lifts his elbow up. Then he hits the guy's arm, and then the crowd just like goes crazy. Then he turns to the other side, does the same thing, bam, and like he took his time. He didn't like rush through it. So I was like, yeah, like that's what a star should be. And then like I remember, okay, when we were going through the match, like when we were planning the match. First of all, the match was planned right as the first match started. Like that is the first time I ever experienced that, and it was like totally nerve-wracking. So he was explaining to me, okay, I'm going to give you a V trigger. Don't bump. So I was like, okay. So I was thinking like he gives me the V trigger, I just stand there, and then immediately he's gonna give me the One Ring Angel. That's what I thought. But then when it actually came to the match and he did it, and the crowd just went ballistic because this is the first ever V trigger.
Yep.
He took his time. He just stood there and he posed. And I don't think I've seen this in a Kenny Omega match. I don't know. Maybe I haven't been watching like as many Kenny Omega matches as I should, but like he just stood there. He just like raised his arm, just stood there. Then like I didn't know what to do because I was just like standing there.
Yeah, I remember.
But I felt like it'll be a bit weird if I'm just like in this position. So I decided to kind of just kneel down beside him and hug him.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember like that was the first time in a match, and I didn't believe this concept until then, where I had an outer body experience. It's like it's a legit thing. So like he gave me the V trigger that I could really like view from like a bird's eye view, like everybody just reacting to the V trigger. It was really like a surreal moment. So like what I got from that, or the impression that I got was, that's a star. Like that is, you know, like the term like getting over, or this person's over. Kenny Omega is over. He
Yeah.
was super over on that night. Like
He was.
he could do no wrong, and like he could just take his time. You are watching him wrestle at his pace, not anybody else's. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like as a fan watching that match, like you're right. Like it was as if it's Kenny Omega pro wrestling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and the audience was, oh my gosh, like as we said again, the energy. It was on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to see like the Singaporean wrestlers like face him in a match, like it was so mind blowing. Like of all people, Kenny Omega came to SPW.
Yeah,
Like
for sure. Yeah, that was like,
unforgettable.
yeah. But when I heard like the news of like Kenny Omega coming, I was like, oh, that's cool, great. Then after that, like, I found out, oh, by the way, you're gonna be tagging with like Statement and Traxxas. I'm like, okay, against who? Okay, Kenny Omega, Shima, and no, I was gonna say Charlie Mang.
Charlie Mang, yes.
Yeah, I was
I was
like,
gonna say
what?
Monk.
Yeah, so like yeah, that match was yeah, again, it's not my best match ever, because again, the reason why I say that is because again, like living up to the expectations, I felt I was like rushing. So like there was this moment in the match, in fact, like when we were like talking about the match, Kenny Omega said, okay, I'm gonna be doing my dive, and I need one of you to cut me off. Then Traxxas was like, oh yeah, like Butcher, you can cut him off. Then Kenny Omega was like, okay, maybe you can, I don't know, you can hit me with a clothesline, a spear, whatever you want, man. Then I'm like, is it okay if I give you a Lutez press and I bite you? Then he was like, yeah, sure, man, go ahead, yeah. I like it. So I did the Lutez press, and then like my punches were too rushed. It was just like, okay, so like ideally, like when I give like hammer fist punches, it'll just be like really like range of motion. But I was just doing like this to his head. Like if you see the video, it's like it was so disgusting. So like looking back, I was like, shit, like if only like I didn't put too much pressure on myself. I just thought about, okay, let's live in the moment. Let's like really make every like move count. Like that's what I would have done better. But again, like very good learning experience. Yeah.
Speaking of that, like how you felt that it was a lesson for you in terms of not rushing your moves. I mean, honestly, thinking back on that match, I did not feel like you were not above, or I mean, you're not at his level or whatever. Like I felt like you guys were, like on par lah. I mean, of course, Kenny Omega is like a whole different thing, but then comparing that match with your match, the Horus match with Kaz, Hayashi, and Shima, like it was, as a wrestling fan watching that, it was so surreal because like there were these two Japanese wrestlers, like veterans, like innovators in their own right.
Yeah.
And then the Horus, like it was so cool to see you guys in a match. And I did not feel like, oh, it's just a Singaporean tag team and versus Japanese legends. I didn't think that way. Like, it was like SPW stars versus Japanese living legends.
That's cool. Yeah. And I think I mean, of course, I don't want to like totally like discredit like the Horus and say like, oh yeah, it was only like the legends that helped us, but like they really did help us, like legit, like they made us feel like calm. And in fact, like there was no moment like when planning the match or whatsoever where they were like, oh, like we are legends, you are not on our level. Like they made sure that we were on the same wavelength. They made sure that we were comfortable taking the moves. They made sure that they were comfortable taking our moves too. So like, yeah, like I think it's a testament to like their work that they can make us look good and make us look as if we are on that level, but in reality, really, like we're not even close. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a testament of the Horus work that you guys look like you're on the same par with them.
Yeah, it's just as wrestlers, or as a wrestler, I can't really give like too much credit to myself.
I mean, that's fair. Okay, so wait, I lost my list. Okay, so after all the international stars, or maybe not just international, but like of all the wrestlers that you have wrestled with, like if you could face any wrestler in the world, Singapore, whatever, Malaysia, US, or whatever, who would it be?
Wow, that's a very tough one. I think immediately, off the top of my head, would be Tajiri. Yeah. And the reason why I say Tajiri is because, yeah, going back a little bit to like my character evolution. One of the things that kind of like made me switch slowly into like the whole monster Butcherman. I never really gave a lot of thought as to how the Butcherman walks. Like I would just like walk as per normal. It's just that I remember I saw like Tajiri in Singapore when he wrestled like Statement like many times, right? Like Tajiri would do this thing where he's kind of like a half spider, half old Japanese uncle, just like doing that. So like I remember I was just wrestling a match. I forgot which match it was, but like I was thinking like, okay, what if I just steal a little bit of that? Then I just put into my gimmick. So like I tried and I was like, okay, let's just make it my own. Then I was like kind of like contort my body into like certain positions. Then I was like, okay, yeah, like maybe I'll run with this. So I would just imagine like the dynamic between like Tajiri's energy and character versus my character. Like how would that work? Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. I'm very keen on wrestling like people from Grapple Max and ROR. Like I mean I have done that before, but like I really want to wrestle everybody in Singapore because I feel that like local wrestling is where it's at. I mean, of course, there are so many like other big stars or international people that I can wrestle, but I want to wrestle the people here. Like this is my home ground, so like I want to wrestle the people on my home ground.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, all the more like bring up the local wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Besides wrestling, you are also an active trainer in SPW. So
Yeah.
when did you start training others?
I started training others in 2018. So actually, like I only became a trainer because at one point, one of the trainers couldn't make it, or I think they left SPW. I think so. Statement was like, "Hey, like, can you take over training for this particular session?" So I did it, and then it happened again and again and again, and then now until like current present day, I am a trainer. Yeah.
All right. So compare the time when you first started training others and now. Has anything changed you as a wrestler yourself?
Yeah, I would say like what I learned from my matches, like I'll try to teach like others as well. So like I try I mean I do try to get them to maybe flesh out their characters when they are training, but I also want to make sure that they understand the purpose of whatever move they're trying to do, even if it's a simple like headlock or wrist lock or when you do a counter, why do you do the counter this way? Why will the counter be successful, unsuccessful? And of course, like back to what I was saying about like me not being comfortable with be calling like me not being comfortable of being called a senior, like a veteran, because like I really don't know everything. It's not as if like I have like tons of like years of experience, but whatever I do know, I do wanna like teach others so that they either don't make the same mistakes I do, or at least that if we ever like wrestle, we're on the same like wavelength. Yeah.
Got it. So is there like a piece of advice that you gotten yourself and then you pass it on to the people that you train?
Yeah,
Like,
I would say that whenever you wrestle, whether it's training or whether you're in a match, don't treat it as a performance. Treat it as if you're actually wrestling in a wrestling match. That there will be a total like energy difference, because like if you are going into the match thinking, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock up. After I lock up, I will counter into a headlock. Then after I do the headlock, then I'm going to do a wrist lock. Then this person is going to roll, he's going to flip, and then what's next? Oh yeah, he's going to push me off the rope, and I'm going to fall. So it's like it's gonna be robotic, and actually like subconsciously people will pick up on that. But if let's say like you go into the match thinking, okay, I'm gonna lock up, and the moment I lock up, I'm gonna make sure I get the advantage. Okay, from here, okay, he's loose here, boom. Okay, I got him into a headlock. Okay, I'm gonna wrench on his head. Make sure he feel the pain. So like you live in the move and in the moment. So like at least like you can have that genuine emotion that you can express to those watching.
Right. Who gave you that advice?
I would say it's just something that I picked up on my own. Maybe like wrestling, like more like veteran wrestlers, like true like veteran wrestlers. Like I think they also kind of showed through example as well. So like I will see how they react, and I'm thinking like, okay, how do they make it so genuine? So like, okay, I really don't think they're thinking about spots or sequences. I really think that they're just living in the moment. So let's try to live in the moment as you're wrestling.
I see.
Yeah.
And what's it like seeing the people you train go on to perform in the ring themselves?
Oh yeah. Okay. So like this is a recent thing. I never saw myself as like a producer of matches. Like I never thought that people would come up to me and say, "Hey, like, could you help to produce a match, help to construct the whole match and piece it together?" Because like I'm already quite nervous about my own match. So like to take care of like other matches, I would I thought that was quite daunting. But there's this satisfaction of like seeing how that these are your trainees, like they perform, they're doing what you taught them, and they're doing the match that you constructed, and they're hitting on all the right notes and all the right beats, and you're like, yeah, let's go get it. So like there's one example. It was this match. It was Wolfram Cartel and CBK versus Bryson Blade, Trickster, and CK Vin. And like these guys are quite regulars for my training sessions. So like when I constructed the match and they hit on the right notes and the crowd reacted, I was in the back cheering. I was like, yeah guys, let's go. And then like some of the other SPW wrestlers at first, they were like a bit like apprehensive. They thought like, oh, the match is too random, or like the match is how are they going to have a good match from this? But like they killed it, and the crowd was just like ballistic after the match. So I was like, okay, yeah, like that's a newfound satisfaction. So like I feel guys like CK Vin, like Bryson Blade, Ryan, E-Man, the list goes on. Like basically all of them, like all the new wrestlers who have learned under me. Like I hope that they gain something from my lessons, and I hope that they can just like improve from there. Yeah.
I hope so too. I mean, like I'm a huge fan of like CK Vin, E-Man, and all that. Like, I mean, it's nice to see them like improving with each match, developing their own character and persona and all that. Right. So, if you would describe the Singapore pro wrestling scene to someone who is unfamiliar to it, to someone who is new to it, what would you tell them?
I would say that you just need to take a chance with us, because I can't really describe it. You really need to be in the crowd and experiencing it. Like I can tell you, like maybe the color of the cheeseburger. I can tell you the contents inside the cheeseburger, but I can't tell you how it tastes like. You need to taste it for yourself. Yeah. So, because wrestling is really a niche thing. Like, if let's say you wanna ask someone, hey, like you should watch this TV show, you should watch this movie, maybe they'll be a bit more inclined to watch it. But wrestling is just it's a form of entertainment for like misfits, like those who never really fit well into society. So it might be a bit of a strange experience at first for those watching it, but I don't know whether you remember or you watched the episode from SpongeBob where like Squidward like taste the curry patty for the first time ever.
Oh man, I do not remember this, but it
Yeah.
sounds
So
familiar.
yeah,
Okay.
basically he is like, no, I will never have a curry patty. It's the most disgusting thing ever. Then when he actually tasted it, like he denied that he liked it, but actually secretly like he loved it. He thought it was like the best food ever, and he was addicted to the curry patty. So like, I mean, of course, we hope that like those who are not wrestling fans, they would have the same experience. But really, like, you have to try it first in order for you to really understand what wrestling is all about.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, wrestling is best enjoyed live, right? Watching it. Yeah,
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So like, I mean, I would say that it is, in fact, kind of easier to get someone to watch local wrestling than to watch like, let's say, like a WWE or AEW, because yeah, like WWE and AEW is available online, and you know, if you have the WWE network or like what was the AEW network? I think like Fight TV. Yeah, so they have it available online, but you can't experience the full in the full experience of wrestling unless you view it live. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you have it like right there in your hometown, so why not? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, what's next for you in pro wrestling, and what's your aspirations for the scene?
Mm, so like me personally, I do wanna prove to be a formidable like main eventer. Whether that's as a tag team or as a singles, that one really like is for the future to reveal to us. But yeah, like I do aspire to become the SPW Southeast Asia champion. Uh, Maybe along the way I'll be also become the SPW 24/7 champion, so that at least I can tell everybody that I'm the first person to win all 4 championships. Um, for the entire scene, I feel that my personal aspiration is that I hope that we can all just work together. So like no like barrier between SPW, Graphomax, and ROR. Like I feel the scene is way too small for us to have this like petty like feuds or whatever. In fact, I think all of these feuds that we have between the promotions is imaginary. It's just something that were like, oh, I remember when I watched the documentary about WWE versus WCW, or like, oh, WWE versus AEW. We want the same thing in local wrestling. First of all, like WWE and WCW at that time were two very major entities in wrestling, and they were like worldwide phenomenons. But like we are just like in Singapore, in this like small freaking island. So like we should join together to make sure that we are the noisiest wrestling island in the world. That's what I feel.
I didn't know, but that was something that they think about, like having this uh, WWE versus WCW type of thing. Was it
Yeah,
really?
yeah. I mean, I think like naturally when there are more than one wrestling promotions in an area, you'll be like, oh yeah. I mean, okay, maybe some of the boys might be like, oh yeah, like we can do better than Graphomax, or maybe I don't know whether like Graphomax or Aura thinks like, oh, we can do better than SPW. Um, but of course, there will be that friendly competition. They'll be like, okay, like SPW, we are going to deliver this. Then Graphomax will be like, okay, we are gonna make sure we deliver this. Then we try to just one up each other so that we can rise. But the thing is, like, what's missing is that we're not working with each other. So, like,
Mm,
if we just reach out to each other, maybe like some of us wrestle for Grapple Max and Grapple Max wrestle for us. We mix it in with RR as well. I think like it will be such a good community because like I am I the only one? I mean, other than like the Wonder Boy from Malaysia, and I think there's a few other internationals that have done this too. So like I'm the only Singaporean that's wrestled for all three promotions. So I am the only person that was able to kind of like mix with the other locker rooms. And like every locker room is passionate about wrestling. We're all like wrestling fans that just want local wrestling to thrive. So like why do we need to have any sort of like barrier or like forbidden door? The door shouldn't even be forbidden. It should just be open door, come. Let's wrestle together to make this big.
That's true. I mean, SPW had the it was an anniversary show, right? Where there
Yeah.
were Grapple Max and RR talents on it.
Yeah.
So I think, it's high time that we have another one which is like an actual collaboration that is just these three promotions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, and like, if you think about it, right? Like what do you think like the prospect of the statement Andrew Tang versus N Boss Gregory would be like if it happened now?
Huge.
But if you think about it, it's actually a match that could have happened in like 2012 SPW, 2013, because they were all under the same umbrella at once. But like you see, like with these three different promotions and the way that we have built our own individual promotions up, if we join together, you'll have something as magical as a potential statement versus N Boss Gregory, or like I don't know, maybe the Horrors versus Showtime Inc. or Aussie, or maybe like Eurasian Dragon versus Black Arrow. That would be like pretty cool as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What is the best piece of advice you were given by a fellow pro wrestler?
Okay. I think so. There's like I think I got half of the advice from fellow pro wrestlers in general, and then I added in my own twist to it. So the advice that was given to me is less is more. So like my wrestling style, like I wouldn't do like move after move after move after move. Like I'll just try to make sure I do a move. I'll let it like settle in, make sure the audience absorbs it, digests it. Then after that, I move on. So during the time where they absorb it, I try to accentuate the so-called the flavoring of the move with my character motions, right? So the second half that I added into it is that yes, less is more, but the less part, you just need to make sure that you put 100% into it, because a lot of people misconstrue that advice by saying, oh, less is more. Okay, I'm going to do like the least amount of moves and I'm going to put the least amount of effort into it, which I feel is nonsense, because if you want to be taken seriously, you really need to put a lot of effort into the moves that you do. So if let's say all you do is just a bear hug and a backbreaker, you really need to make sure that that bear hug or that backbreaker is devastating, or at least it makes people feel like, oh, like that bear hug or that backbreaker is very, very dangerous. So that comes, or that plays into like going for training. Just make sure that you improve your moves, even if it's just focusing on like one or two moves. You just need to make sure that you give the best that you can, not only for your own like portfolio, if let's say you're going overseas to wrestle for other promotions, but also for those who are watching you, because they are paying money to watch you wrestle. So don't give them like shit quality.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I mean, like, as a fan, like, you want to see the wrestlers giving 100%. Like, it's a two-way street, right? This energy, watching shows and all that. So if you see someone that's just like half-assing, then you feel like, I pay to watch this for what? Kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's fair to say. And I mean, like as a fan, also, I would not think that less is more is a good advice because, like, um, you want to see them do stuff, but then when you tell me that less is more, I'm like, how does that work in a
Mhm.
wrestling match? Yeah. So when you explain it to me, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, the reason why I stand by less is more is because, I feel like, let's say, like, you okay, and this is actually advice given to me by this Australian pro wrestler Carlo Cannon, trained by Lance Storm, like one of my favorite people in the world. So he was explaining me this concept. Yeah, so like, um, if let's say like you grab a person, you give them a DDT, and then you flip over, then you give them a suplex, and then you flip over, then you give them like a freaking like spine buster or whatever. So yeah, those are like cool combinations of moves, but like there's more into like the emotion rather than the motion. For example, if let's say like I club the back, like that motion of clubbing the back, yeah, sure, fine. But imagine if you grab the person and then you look at the person, you're angry, you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna kill this person." Then you look in the crowd, yeah, I'm gonna kill this person. Like that means much more because like
Yeah.
you're just doing only that one move. But like because you show that intention to hurt that person or to win, that means much more. So that's what I mean by less is more. Because like I guess it's kind of like comparing. I don't know what's like a good director that's considered like very like critically acclaimed.
I can't think of any right now.
Let's say like Schindler's List is who? Okay, like maybe like a David Lynch movie versus a Michael Bay movie.
Oh, okay.
Like Michael Bay is just bum 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 bum. Yeah, sure, it's great. But then like like if you ask someone like, what's your favorite part of Transformers? Or is when the robots fight. But then if you know like maybe um what's like a recent movie that's like quite nice. Like maybe like Furiosa, for example. That's the only movie I can think of. Like I was quite emotionally invested when like her love interest was like being tortured and like like was dragged through the sand in the desert and he died. That like that emotion like really sticks to me more than just a bunch of action sequences. Yeah.
So it's not just the moves alone that makes a wrestling match, it's the emotions behind the moves.
Exactly. Yeah, because that will leave the lasting impression for the fans. At least
Yeah.
that's what I feel as a wrestling fan as well. Because if you were to ask me like, oh, like do you remember the entire match of Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels? I'll be like, okay, yeah, I mean I can because I watched the match like 50 times already. But like I can remember like specifically like the moment that gripped me was when Undertaker gave the tombstone. And then like 1-2, Shawn Michaels kicked out, and then like they did this zoom in on his face where he's like, "What the fuck?" Like Shawn Michaels kicked out. What like that
Exactly.
emotion that he conveyed, he made me feel as well as a fan. Yeah. So it's these type of things that I feel mean more in wrestling than just a bunch of moves.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like to also talk about when you mentioned the match with Kenny Omega, like I do not remember exactly move for move, but I definitely will remember the time when you got hit by the V trigger and the way that you sold it, like that's emotion right there. Yeah, so that really was unforgettable lah.
And also the botch from Shaolin Monk when he
Yeah,
hit.
I didn't want to say it, but I mean, okay, even like a botch like that because it was high stakes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it still brought up emotions from the crowd. It's like, oh shit, he did that. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a botch, but it was like, oh my god, like
Actually,
yeah,
that botch, like even though of course at the moment we were panicking, like watching back, it's like uh it felt as if like they really needed to bring out like the heavy artillery to take us down, but then they somehow missed their big
Yes.
nuclear bomb, so
It
they're like,
added to the drama of the match.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Kenny
Like,
is like,
I mean,
okay,
that was a really good match.
yeah,
Like Shaolin Meng, oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So that's all the questions that I have. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, so I really hope to see like you mentioning like all the three promotions in Singapore collaborate on something soon. Yeah, that's definitely the hope. Me personally as a fan, I definitely would hope to see that. Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to plug in my social media stuff. So like you guys can follow me on Instagram at @the_Butcherman. You can follow me on Facebook, just the Butcherman. But if you go to Twitter, you can put that at @the_Butcherman, but with an extra N because someone already stole the name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Like who?
I don't know.
Like the spelling DA also.
DA also. I'm like, what the heck?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Like, do you see the profile, the person's profile?
No, I didn't. But like when I type in like the Butcherman, they were like, oh, the username is already been used. I'm like, ah, shit.
Oh, interesting.